Live from the Score Atlanta television studios in North Atlanta, this is Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Georgia High School Sports Daily. Happy Friday Eve. Blessed to be back here today with you guys. Remember that you can catch the show on the Atlanta News First streaming app on your phone. You can also catch it on the CBS Sports Local streaming app, Zine, and you also can watch it on Peachtree Sports Network via YouTube TV. Got Craig Sticker alongside me. Got a lot to dive into today. We'll do a 2026 class preview, looking ahead now as we wrapped up the class for yesterday. Remember that you can watch the full episode from the 2025 National Signing Day Special live on Score Atlanta YouTube page. So definitely go there and check that out. We'll also have on Max to talk about the latest that he's been working on, some Super Bowl trivia as well, and we'll do a preseason soccer girls preview. But Craig, excited to be back. A 3-hour special yesterday. What just was your favorite moment from yesterday?
Well, one, I want to thank everyone that tuned into it. I thought it was a great show, and then I was thinking about it this morning. I give a lot of credit. Great kids we had throughout the entire episode, the entire 3 hours. Got to give credit to their head coaches, their coaching staff, and then their parents. I thought they were just great kids. You could tell they were mature. A lot of them had to go through this recruiting process. They still performed extremely well. They were able to build relationships with the college coaches at the same time. I just think it comes from the great relationships with the coaches. Some of them we had here with whether it's Coach Godfrey, Coach Bruner, at Walton, obviously all the other programs, then the parents. I just thought it was a great group of kids.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Obviously, as you mentioned, Craig, great group of kids going on to the next level. It was a lot of fun to chat and talk with them and just about their journeys. Everybody's journey is different, and everybody's heavily recruited, and just seeing them find homes, I think was very heartwarming, and being able to see them play and achieve their dreams at the next level.
Yep, and it was our first ever in studio 3-hour signing day, so we'll be able to follow all these guys and look back on it and see how their careers go. Sky's the limit for them. They'll be at a lot of different destinations, and we'll have more coverage, obviously, of this 2025 class. And then this is also one of my favorite times because I have the great Georgia Elite Classic alumni list.
Yes.
We're up to 1,800 names since its inception. And so now that this signing day has passed, I'll be able to add the 2025 class to that.
There you go. And as you guys know, we keep track of that all the time and see where they end up and if they end up at the next level beyond that. But all right, let's go ahead and get started with our fast break headlines at the top of the hour. Dunwoody wins wrestling area title. Qualifies for sectionals, an outstanding job by them. The wrestling team added another trophy to the shelf last Saturday via an 11-point victory over Woodward Academy in Area 4 of 5A Wrestling Championships at Dunwoody. Dunwoody collected 3 gold medals, 6 silver medals, and 1 bronze while qualifying 12 wrestlers for Class 5A sectionals at Houston County. Coming up on Saturday, Dunwoody got wins from Jared Katz, 113, Alex Missick, 120, and Andrew Fielder, 138. As well. Arabia Mountain made a strong showing as well with a 4th place finish at the meet led by Joshua Madungo's gold medal victory in the 285-pound division. The Rams also had 1 silver medal winner and 3 bronze medals on the day. The Rams qualified 8 for the sectional.
Yeah, huge win. You see that right there, beating Woodward Academy, a great program, and then going back-to-back proves they have that experience. Returning for the team will definitely be one of the wrestling programs to watch. We also covered this week the big developments between Walton and Etowah. Etowah winning the first county during duels, Walton winning the traditional, and now they're going down to Valdosta this week to try to qualify their wrestlers. So we will have that coming up, the conclusion of this year's wrestling season. All right, want to go to headline 2 real quick? We got some extra headlines because we had to make up for yesterday, so we'll roll through these right now.
100%. All right, Alcovey basketball makes history, and boys and girls win over Loganville. Both teams earned a region win over Loganville. Girls team won 61-56. Boys team won 78-73. It was also senior night for them. Nick Durham celebrated over 1,500 career points, achieving a great milestone for him in his career. In 2015, alumni DeAnthony Bell football jersey was retired. So obviously a great day for Alcovey and being able to make some history out there, obviously achieving those great feats.
Yeah, 1,500 points, big time milestone right now. All right, headline number 3, let's get into this one. Grayson Ellen and Caesar Burrows eclipsed 1,000 points and are named Athletes of the Week. Caesar Burrows from Walton Basketball. He's a 3-year starter and 4-year varsity player for the Raiders. Caesar also scored his 1,000th career point. He has been part of the Walton basketball program since the 5th grade when he started playing for the junior program. He leads the team in points, assists, rebounds, and he is an all-star in the classroom too with a 3.73 GPA. Caesar will be furthering his academic and athletic career at Lehigh University on a basketball scholarship. This is what head coach Bo Abney had to say. Caesar is the ultimate team leader. He leads on the court with his play, attitude, and unselfishness. His on-court accomplishments speak for themselves, but off the court, he is a great student and a well-respected classmate by all his teachers. He is also involved in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes as a member of the FCA student leadership team. A little bit about Grayson Ellen for the Lady Raiders, a 4-year starter. Grayson began playing basketball in the 4th grade with the program. She currently leads the team in points, steals, assists, and blocks. She was recently honored for scoring her 1,000th career point. She has a 3.4 GPA and will attend Mississippi State in the fall to play soccer for the Bulldogs. Grayson has been a huge part of our program's success over the past few seasons, including a region championship in 2023, one of Walton's first ones on the ladies' side in quite some time. Might have even been their first one, advancing to the Sweet 16. And her coach, Matt Kelderburn, said she was also selected to the GBCA GACA 7A All-State basketball team last year as a junior. She's the main engine for our team, and they look up to her greatly.
There you go. All right, our next headline coming from Colquitt, Gregory Brothers. They ended up topping the swim meet podium. Girls Hart and Deloach placed for Packers at GHSA Diving Championships. Tuck Gregory has all the reason to rib his brother Trip just a bit Tuesday evening. Tuck, who led the Packers to 4 podium finishes at the Diving Championship at Westminster in Atlanta, scored 757.55 points. To be his brother Tripp's second-place finish is 669.55. Miles Gravitt of North Gwinnett scored 524.25 points to finish 3rd in the 6A Boys Diving Championships. In the girls Class 6A competition, Colquitt County divers Jewel Hart and Kendall Deloach headlined the podium. Hart scored 613.45 points in a tight competition, only separated by 11 points from first to third. Leah McCarthy of Mill Creek finished in second with 607.85 points, and Deloach is 602.42. For second straight season, R.J. Snyder of Woodward Academy took home first place in 5A with a 698.70 performance. Obviously, there's more results from that evening. Class A 3A boys, Trevor Sewell of Holly Innocence took the top with 515.95 points. In the girls, Class A to 3A diving results, Abby Suits of Wesleyan 628.60 points took first place. For a boys dive, Emmanuel Pitts, East Forsyth 617.9, and then 5A girls, you have Elisa Pace, who took home for Jackson County with 462.40.
Very exciting. Now, the action will go to Georgia Tech for the rest of the swim and dive state championships. All right, headline number 5. Greater Atlanta Christian Girls Tennis opens with a 5-0 victory. Getting me excited with the tennis. Actually, I got a big match coming up this weekend.
See?
All right. Greater Atlanta Christian's girls tennis team opened the season with a 5-0 victory over North Springs on Tuesday. Ella Kemp and Charlie Bomar, both freshmen, posted 6-0, 6-0 wins in the top 2 singles spots. Raina Baskerville added a 6-1, 6-2 victory at number 3 singles, and then Ava Hoover and Joelle Day won 6-1, 6-0 at number 1 doubles. And Harper Nugent and Natalie Zhang were victorious 6-0, 6-0 at number 2 doubles. Hard to have a better start than that. And then Hebron sweeps as well. They swept Archer in Tuesday's season opener, winning the boys match 5-0 and 4-1 in the girls' side.
There you have it. All right, big win for Savannah as they avenged the loss to McIntosh County Academy this past week. For our next headline, it was a top ranked basketball battle. In that one, you had Savannah boys winning the latest. They ended up winning 56-46 in that victory in Region 3. All matchup Tuesday night. Savannah was ranked number 1 in Class A Division II when the teams met for the first game in a 48-47 victory for McIntosh County Academy on January 7th as the Buccaneers took over the top spot with the Blue Jackets falling to number 2. Savannah High coach George Brown, second year leading the program, had Tuesday night circle on his schedule ever since that loss, and his Blue Jacket squad delivered a performance in order to win that one and improve to 18-4 overall and 13-1 in Region play. MCA fell to 19-4 and 13-1 in play.
And now you're going to have to take this next one. I do want to point out, though, I saw the lacrosse season is getting ready to start. I think the first matches are going to be February 10th. I think that's Monday or Tuesday. I saw Lassiter was scrimmaging GAC last night. It's a big-time matchup. So they had the starters in for that first half. Lassiter was up 8-1, so they looked very strong in that one.
All right, the next headline, Campbell girls are to face Hillgrove for the #1 seed in Region 3 Friday night. Campbell will be on the road against Hillgrove in a matchup that will determine the #1 seed for that region tournament. Sanaya Binion, she scored 15 points and had 5 steals to lead the Sparks to a Region 3 6A victory. Aaliyah Parrish, she finished with 13 points and 9 rebounds, while Marley Battle scored in a double-double with 10 points, adding on 5 rebounds and a team-leading 6 steals. So a major matchup between Campbell and Hillgrove this upcoming weekend.
And then I'll have more on this in my blog tomorrow, my Class A Division II. Big-time matchup. It's been the #1 versus #1. They've been swapping spots. That's Savannah and then McIntosh County Academy. I wanted to talk about this matchup real quick. So the Savannah boys won the latest round in what is expected to become a season-long battle for state supremacy as the host Blue Jackets beat McIntosh County Academy 56-46 in this rematch Tuesday night. Savannah was ranked #1 in Class A Division II when the teams met for the first time in a game won 48-47 by McIntosh County Academy. So Savannah is able to get revenge, and I'm going to have to update my rankings next week.
100%. Well, all right, guys, it's going to conclude the first segment. Coming up, we will look more into the 2026 class here in the state of Georgia for football and give the latest around that class.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Man, you know how to do this? Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Nigel Wilkins along with Craig Sager. So we're going to take a deep dive and a look at the 2026 class. Has a lot of great prospects starting out the top. I know we got some great graphics from our team. Obviously, we'll start with Xavier Griffin, who is the highest-rated linebacker, highest-rated actually player here in the state of Georgia, and he leads the top spot. Plays for Gainesville High School. Has played obviously in several big-time events. Craig, when you look at All-American game and things like that, he's obviously a great prospect as well. So a lot of fun to see that. Obviously committed to USC. Way back when, but there's a lot of teams that are heavy on him. A lot of teams down here in the Southeast, Florida, Georgia, they want him to stay home and stay close. Bama, I wouldn't say they're out of it either, but that's going to be a prospect to watch.
Absolutely, and I feel like what we saw this year, once the college football season got going, it was a pretty wild season. Let's just be honest. I mean, a lot of upsets. once these teams start to find what they need, he's going to be sought after by everyone. And so they're going to try to pull him from USC. We've seen a lot of flips. That's across the country. I'm sure he'll take another visit all the way out there, but it's going to be very interesting to see if they're able to hold on to him once that season gets going, once these visits start happening. But certainly you look at his size. We saw him play last year, 6'3", 200 pounds at the linebacker position. Lots of physicality. He's got the speed. Checks every single box.
100%. And obviously the next big one will be Tyler Atkinson. Obviously a lot of people are after him. Currently trending towards Georgia. Obviously had another great season with the Grayson Rams. Obviously the best prospect, in the country. Can do a little bit of everything. He can blitz. He can rush. He can play linebacker. I mean, he's probably one of the best prospects in the country. What's interesting is I've seen a great, obviously, quote from Adam Gorney of Rivals, talking about this. But basically, he had a FaceTime call with Deion Sanders, and he said, I don't really recruit high school guys, unless I can think they can contribute as soon as they get on campus. Essentially, I am summarizing the quote. I'm paraphrasing the quote. But basically, unless you're a dog, I don't really, come after. So obviously, that's something that's in the back of the mind that's planted for Tyler. It's just going to depend what's important to him, right? Because he's already a brand in himself. He has his brand, the ATK Noop, which obviously is great here in the state, of Georgia. I know he's continuing to try to expand. But what's interesting is we've seen what Coach Prime was able to do for, obviously, Travis Hunter, his own son. And while they, the first year they didn't perform the best 4-8, ended up going 9-4, that next year. But the brand that Travis had and Shador, it got elevated. And, I think it just depends on what Tyler wants to do, right? I think he can still be developed there. He's obviously showed that he can have a, Heisman Trophy winning player in Travis. But I think it could also elevate his brand to the next level as well.
Absolutely. And so that's funny that you mentioned Travis Hunter. When I saw Travis Hunter play, I said, that's the most competitive high school player I've seen. You can tell he truly loves the game of football. You can see the joy on his face when he's out there making big plays. Tyler's the exact same way. And when that new Grayson staff came over, he was just a sophomore. And I talked to them, hey, Coach Carter left. Who do you guys have? And they were already talking about just the strength and conditioning of Tyler Atkinson. For him to have that, was it the sophomore season where he had like 180 tackles? We're like, okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then he did it again this last year, elevated his game even more so. So I think, one, he's a guy that truly loves to play the game of football. And then his leadership is so underrated. We saw it with his NIL deal, giving his teammates cleats. He seems to be a guy that can be the face of a college program, not just a year one starter. I feel like he's going to be a face in college football that's really going to take the country by storm.
Bold take, obviously, there from Craig. Another player that obviously just announced his top 5 about 20 minutes ago via Hayes Fawcett is Caden Prothro, is 2-time state champion for the Bowden Red Devils. He is now down to a top 5 that includes Auburn, Georgia, Texas, Florida, and obviously Alabama. To me, when I look at this top 5, obviously all great programs. I look at Florida, and when I look at Kyle Pitts, potentially, a generational talent, I feel like he could also be that potentially for, the Gators and what he does. And I pointed out, too, like, when you look at Bowden, their training regimen's insane, right? It's just, I think he's going to already be ready. I said Georgia, probably more of a death piece because they have Elias Williams coming in this class, Ethan Barbour, and they still got Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky. But you look at Auburn, you look at Florida, you look at Texas, I think he can go down there and contribute early.
Yeah.
Alabama as well.
And he has a chance to be a 4-time state champion?
Yeah.
What I like about this, just him being at the top of these recruiting standings, it's once again another year where you have one of the best prospects in the entire state and country playing in that Class A Division II. Him playing in that at a smaller school, I feel like he's just able to focus. He's in his own little bubble right there. Obviously, the attention, the recruiting is going to be off the charts, but Bowden and what their coaching staff does, they're focused on winning once again. And, his size is pretty remarkable, 6'7". That is a big-time prospect. I think the Kyle Pitts size comparison's right on.
Yep, 100%. And then next up, I think they're kind of a package deal, in my humble opinion. But Jordan Carter and Aaron Gregory, obviously both committed to Texas A&M. But it seems like those guys are just banded together. You know what I'm saying? They have a really good relationship. You go look at some of the things they've done together, some of the visits they take together, and how they document everything and, record it and things like that. I think those two are kind of a package deal in my humble opinion. But both elite prospects. I've seen both of them a lot. I've seen them train, obviously seen them play for Douglas County. Got a great coach in Johnny White. Next year will be an interesting year, Craig. Can they finally break through? Made it to the semifinals this year. Unfortunately, no longer have DJ Bordeaux, who's back in Colorado, but they do have a new quarterback on the fray, and that is Michael Johnson, formerly of Dutchtown. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that's going to look moving forward for them, but two elite prospects.
Absolutely. Jordan Carter, absolute beast. And then with Aaron Gregory, I mean, he can go out there for Douglas County. He could probably play in the secondary if he wanted to. I just want to see him get the ball a lot more this upcoming season. He's such a weapon. I know that there's so many prospects for Douglas County. Last year, their class of 2026 really defines, or when you look at the class of 2026, you can't mention it without Douglas County. They've got so many guys at the top of the top 25, top 50. But I just want to see him get those opportunities and really go off in games. I know he's capable of it. He's great catching the screens. And then once you get him in that screen game and he's breaking tackles, he can take the top off. I mean, he's special. We've seen what he's done in our 7-on-7s also. I think he's poised for a big-time year. And maybe he'll have that C.J. Wiley performance in the state championship.
No, I think you said it, Craig. I think what you wanted to say was this is a defining year for Douglas County.
Yes.
We can go out there and say it. That's what it is. Humbly, when we say it, Grayson won their title. Not a lot of people had them winning. It was Carrollton. Carrollton doesn't have the same quarterback anymore, the same weapons. Going to lose some guys. Got Dorian Barney coming back. No Zealous Hicks anymore. Kamari Farmer does come back. But this is like you said, Craig, this is a defining year for Douglas County. This is one of their best classes. And as you always tell me, when you get there, you got to capitalize on your opportunity because you don't know if you'll get back. And with so many great prospects, camaraderie, cohesion, they got to be able to capitalize this year.
Yeah, and what's impressed me about Douglas County, you remember when they played Hughes, when Hughes had the year they set the state record for points. Douglas County was the only team that went toe-to-toe with them in that first half. They ended up losing that game. The entire team said they wanted the get-back game. They were not afraid to have that rematch. I think that has been carrying over into what has now obviously become that defining year. They know they have the talent. And then the run they made last year, obviously falling short to Grayson, a game they feel that they could have won. Even with the injuries they dealt with last season all over the place, I feel like this is a big-time year for them, and they have two of the best prospects right there with Aaron Gregory and Jordan Carter.
100%. And then there's a prospect I want to mention that is not on this list. I think we went through our top 5 for the most part. And I really want to mention Braden Rouse, underrated guy, was not ranked, and we seen him just absolutely blow up. I think he went up at least 50 to 100 spots on the Rivals rankings here recently. But he is now a 4-star prospect, Craig. And what was so cool, I remember interviewing him after the Corky Kell last year, and he had another standout performance game. And like I said, wasn't getting a lot of attention. I think he won our player of the game. But I just remember how pivotal a moment that was for him. Getting a little bit of college interest, but now everybody in the country, he has Ohio State, Michigan, Florida, Georgia, everybody in the whole country wants him. And I think it's just super cool for him to be able to have that, continue to work hard, and to see where it's allowed him to be at.
Absolutely. I got to throw in one more name, Kamari Brooks. What we saw from him for North Dakota State Championship run, we knew he was good. I thought he was the best player on the field in that game against Marist, and he has a chance to really continue blowing up, maybe getting in that top 15, top 10. He is a special player.
100%. He's already down to his top 3, Clemson, Georgia, and obviously Alabama. So it'll be interesting to see where he decides to choose. Will he stay close to home and play for the local Bulldogs? Obviously plays at Norfolk Coney. All right, guys, to conclude this segment of the 2026 class, we're going to go ahead and look ahead to basketball and talk a little bit about the region tournament. So don't go anywhere. Come right back on the Peachtree Sports Network.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Transform your future today. And by Smart Local 85. Sheet metal is a smart move.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Najee Wilkins along with Craig Sager and a nice guest alongside what is Maxwell Borski, Alabama fan, and much, much more for us. Does a lot of great content. All right, Max. So obviously we got to talk about the Super Bowl. We're gonna have a great show tomorrow. Obviously we'll give some picks and things like that, and a little preview, which will be a lot of fun. But I do have a trivia question for both of you guys from Tuesday. What cities have hosted the most Super Bowls? Or what city?
I kind of want to say New Orleans. I think New Orleans.
My first one, maybe second would be Miami.
Okay, y'all both are right. So it is New Orleans. So that is obviously the pick that you guys see, Miami and New Orleans. You both were
nice.
Correct. Which makes sense. I mean, New Orleans is a dome, and Miami is a warm weather city. So I mean, that does make a lot.
I mean, besides this year's and the blackout game 2012 when the Niners and the Ravens. I can't think of another one in New Orleans. It just feels like it's always been
there.
Always been there.
It's one of those central locations. I mean, you think about Sugar Bowl too. It's just college football. I mean, always having the top end.
Seems like it's every 8 years or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, what a great place to have a Super Bowl. Coach Miles is going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see, and we got to talk to him after that.
Yeah, true. We do. Yeah, definitely do got to bring him on and talk about his experience. Obviously, winning Falcon Coach of the Year, phenomenal. His career at Carver, Atlanta, making him one of the staples here in Georgia, and definitely one of the powerhouses in Atlanta. All right, I got one more question for you guys. Today's trivia question: what city hosted the coldest Super Bowl ever? And it's not going to be a city you guys probably would think of.
Green Bay.
Yeah, off the bat, I would say
the NFL championship, not the Super Bowl, was played there. A big game, obviously, there. But that was not the coldest city.
Not Minneapolis.
I need to do another guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. Should it?
Coldest?
It was outside, correct?
That's correct. Okay, I'll give you guys two of the teams that played in it. I think I've seen Cowboys and Dolphins. See if that helps.
Gosh.
I can't think.
No? Nothing?
Yeah, I'll just go with New York.
Yeah, I was about to say, was it Meadowlands?
All right, let's see. Let's pull it up. See if we had an answer. We're getting the answer tomorrow. So you guys will have to wait. I thought we was getting the answer today. My bad, guys. My bad. We'll get the answer tomorrow. My pick, I mean, had to do some research. I think it's a southern city. You know what I'm saying? Believe it or not. So I'm going with the same pick. I'm going to New Orleans. See if I'm right or wrong.
Oh.
I could be wrong, though. But we'll find out tomorrow when you're hosting, Craig. So that'll be a lot of fun. But all right, let's keep it rolling. Let's talk just a little bit about this stuff you're working on, Max. Obviously, Irwin County, Casey Soliday steps down. This is massive, right? He won a championship his first ever year with the program in 2020, right? The next year, he goes to the finals. They lose. And then he goes to the semifinals this past year. They ended up losing. But 3 region championships and also a state championship in his career there. A phenomenal career with Irwin County. Just what's your reaction to him stepping down or retiring?
Well, when he took over in 2020, it was coming off of the late passing of Buddy Nobles. And Irwin County won in 2019, won the state championship. And in Soliday's first season, he took them back to state championship, which they won. So they were back-to-back champions, which is a hard thing to do, especially in your first year as a head coach, no matter what the roster you're bringing in. But the success that Soliday had, I mean, they never made it. They always made it to the postseason, and they never they made it to the quarterfinals. That was the lowest they made it. So from there, I think he had a quarterfinal appearance, 2 finals appearances, and 2 semifinals appearances in his 5 seasons. So just a very successful career, and we wish him the best.
Yeah, they're one of the teams where I feel like if you broke down the last decade, they're averaging above 10 wins a season. Probably one of the most consistent programs in the state. And then we've seen with now it's Class A Division II, it got split up into the Class A public at one point. But what to me is so exciting about that classification, it's like there seems to be like 10 state championship caliber teams year in and year out. You got Irwin County, obviously Bowden now. We've seen Manchester, Clinch County, Charlton County. There's so many programs, and yet those seem to be a little above some of the other ones just because when you have these smaller schools that don't have as big of a population, if you're a city or a town that really buys into your program and that's what the priority is, like at those destinations, it is a real battle each season. And for them to be able to stay consistent just shows how hard that program is putting in the work.
And then, Craig, who you think would be maybe a good hire for them, or maybe direction they should go after just having so much success with Soliday?
Well, it's a job where all the pieces are there. It's a historic place. They've got the community support. I think it's a great hire for anyone. They know that they're going to be right in it, playing top 10 matchups week in and week out, and contending for a state championship. So I feel like a lot of good candidates, but someone that is familiar at a smaller school like that, because let's be honest, when you're in Class A Division II, you're having to do you aren't doing two platoon football. You're having to play guys on both sides of the ball. So it's a little different in that aspect, where it might be different going from a place like Roswell or something where you're used to having guys specific to offense, specific to defense. You've got to know how to maximize your talent that way.
Very true, Craig. All right, Max, obviously you got a great list for us, DeKalb County recruits that went on to the next level. So who were some players that you wanted to point out?
One that I wanted to start with, Najee, is one that you've been high on for a while. And I remember you telling me him during the season. I didn't get to watch him as much, and that's Sam Turner from Southwest DeKalb. I think that him going to Auburn will be a great fit, both with Hugh Freeze and the way that he can dial up his players open. I mean, he'll join big-time receivers like Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson. Yep. And he'll just be added to that, them too as well. Just be added to that receiving core, and I think like he's a big body receiver. I think he's around 6'2".
Yep.
I mean, so I think he'll just find his way into that offense as well.
No, 100%. It'd be interesting to roll his cards out year one, as you mentioned. So many great players: Perry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons, Cam Coleman. Just got Georgia Tech former receiver Eric Singleton.
True as well.
So a very elite room, but obviously the recruiting staff knows what they're doing, and it's the reason why they're recruiting at such a high level. But yeah, that one was very intriguing. I got a chance to see him when they went up against, I believe it was St. Pius. They played, and he had one of those touchdowns he needed late in that game, and he just caught it over, dude. Just took it over, just like high point in the football, boom, catching it over him and sending the game into overtime. So I think they're getting a phenomenal talent. It'd be interesting to see the role he carves out year one with so much experience coming back for Auburn, but I definitely think he's going to be a great prospect and just one that Auburn never let up because he's a former Georgia Tech commit, and they were very high on him, and they didn't stop until they flipped him.
Was that game where St. Pius did end up winning?
Yes.
Gosh, because that was such a close one. St. Pius has owned this series. We thought this might be the year Southwest DeKalb was able to get the victory. They had it. So that would be a big-time matchup to watch this upcoming season, but certainly Auburn's killing it with the receivers.
Yes, they are, and I think they're going to be obviously a lot of fun to watch this year. All right, Max, what else you got for us?
Another one I'd like to highlight is Mekhi Williams-Lee out of Lakeside. I think him going to Clemson would be great. Clemson's just had such a good, the past couple of drafts, had a lot of great players getting drafted out of there from the defensive side of the ball. Now they have Sammy Brown there right now, who had an excellent freshman season from Jefferson.
Yep.
But I think he'll be a great fit alongside Peter Woods on that Clemson defensive line.
Yeah, just for some reason, Craig, you can attest to this. You got a chance to see him at Rome. Stephon Green, another underrated player that's at Clemson at the defensive line spot, but they always seem to produce at that position. We look at the NFL pipeline as well, Christian Wilkins and several other players that have been from Clemson.
Sure. Cleveland Farrell, Shaq Lawson, the names go on and on.
Exactly. Yep. So I think a good pick for him and a good flip. Obviously, was formerly of NC State, and as you said, went to Clemson. I think he's going to get developed and be ready to go.
I agree.
Yeah, but I mean, DeKalb, another great year. They're probably closing in on triple digits for this year's recruiting class. And it's good to see programs like Lakeside DeKalb have a much better season, getting in the win column and then sending guys to Clemson. Huge accomplishment for them.
100%. Well, that's going to do it for this one. One quick shout out I want to give to Brandon Gunn of Southwest DeKalb, who committed to West Georgia, another outstanding defensive prospect. But coming up, we'll do a basketball preview and talk the latest with some region tournaments coming up here in the state of Georgia.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The Union?
Absolutely. She can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting 6 figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. So now we're going to get into a little bit of a basketball preview, just talk about some of the upcoming region tournaments. Not too many, everything is still getting kind of sorted out this weekend, but let's just visit 6A. We talked about a lot, Craig. We had our rankings yesterday, but 6A, just as the playoffs kind of, come near and come into focus, 6A, a lot of great teams, Grayson, McEachern, Wheeler. Who are some teams you guys are excited to see in 6A?
For me, one, can Lambert continue to handle business? They've been the best team in their region so far. Beating all the Forsyth schools. Obviously, North Atlanta's in that region also. Only 2 losses so far. I want to see them close out the regular season, get that #1 seed, head into the region tournament, and then can they complete those season sweeps? That will be something to watch. I feel like Norcross also has a lot to prove in this final week. Great team. They did struggle in recent games against Parkview, a 5-win team. Can they turn it on, kick another gear? Westlake's red hot also. You got the big matchup between Wheeler and Etowah tonight. That'll be a good one. And then another team in that region with Newton and Grayson and Archer is Grovetown. Grovetown's the team that upset Wheeler in the state playoffs, I think, the year before Isaiah Collier. That was a huge upset. They ended up winning the state title. So that's a team that's gone up into the highest classification now. They're 12-10. They played Newton tonight, but that's a solid program too. So Newton's going to have to handle business. Grayson's the favorite in that region, but a team like Grovetown in the mix just makes that region that much more competitive.
100%. Before I bring you here, Max, I do want to mention a notable tournament already that's going to be going on here in 6A classifications, Region 8 6A. It's going to start at Collins Hill tonight. It's going to be Mountain View at Discovery. Saturday, Decula versus Central Gwinnett. Collins Hill is going to play the winner of Discovery and Mountain View. And then Monday, Mill Creek's going to play against Collins Hill or Discovery, whoever's the winner there. Buford's going to play the winner of Decula and Central Gwinnett. And the championship will be on Wednesday.
Yeah, Buford is the top seed in that one, top 10 this season. I feel like it's the same thing with Lambert for me. They've dominated the region so far. Can they handle the pressure of the region tournament? It's obviously teams they're familiar with. They've already played each of them twice this season, so it'll be interesting to see if they're able to secure home court in the playoffs.
One team I wanted to watch, that one that we had in our Corky Kell, is McEachern. I know we've been high on them since we watched them, but they're just coming off a tough loss to South Cobb, 64-63. They were on a 9-game win streak before then. Then they had one more win. I forget who it was, but we'll see if they can get back on track.
Yeah, very, very true. Obviously, I think before that loss, they ended up beating Norcross in that tournament, or I say that classic that they put together, 55-45. But yeah, curious to see how they rebound. That's a great point, Matt. Really great team. Chase Lump, I think, is one of the best guards in the 2027 class coming up in this new cycle. Jaden Bynes, J.D. Palm still finding his groove. That's going to be interesting. All right, let's go to
your point, though. We got to watch for South Cobb, too.
Yeah, very true.
They've been playing very well.
Very true. All right, let's go to 5A now. Obviously, some great teams there when we think about 5A, Milton, Woodward Academy, Tri-Cities, Habersham Central, Widenerboro. Who are some teams y'all liking in there?
Well, yeah, the big rivalry brewing between Woodward Academy and Tri-Cities. Who's going to take it once they get into the region tournament? They'll start next Tuesday. The #1 seed is going to be huge for both those teams. Avoiding going on the road for the quarterfinals, especially with these these teams like Lee County, you don't want to travel that far. The playoffs, once you get into the playoffs, it's not a lot of time in between games, so that'll be a big-time matchup. Surely we'll see another rematch between Tri-Cities and Woodward.
Yeah, I know we talk about them all the time on the football field, but what about Milton? I'd like to see what Milton can do in this tournament.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to your point. Curious to see how they kind of rebound. Got a big win against Whitney Young from obviously Illinois here recently. But outside of obviously Josh Dixon, who else is going to be a prolific scorer for them? Solomon Brand is obviously getting a lot of buzz in the 2027 class. Just ended up signing with the AU Team Thad. So he'll be running with them over the course of there. But who else will step up? Will it be Daniel Ojenemi as a guy, Solomon Brand, or would it be Jaden Cole? So that's my question there. But a really well-coached team and a team that should be there before it's said and done.
Agreed.
Yep, and then I think we got a big matchup tonight. Alexander against New Manchester. New Manchester is actually 19-4 this season. Alexander's ranked above them. That's a game Alexander will need to win. And then Gainesville in Class 5A. They've been in the top 10 the entire season. They've had some big wins, but can they make that next step and prove to us this week that they can contend with the Miltons, Tri-Cities, and Woodwards?
Very true. All right, let's go to 4A. I'm going to start with you on this one, Max. I know a team you really like out there. So who are you most excited to see come playoff time in 4A?
Well, obviously it's got to be Pace Academy, right? I mean, with that duo they have in Eric Chatfield and Chandler Bing, I mean, it's just going to be hard to stop. When you have that much firepower on the offensive end of the court, I mean, it's just something tough to stop, especially in high school basketball.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to see Eric play when he was a sophomore down at Fort Valley State in the semifinals, going up against a great Fayette County team when they had Keith Gillespie and really senior-heavy team besides Keith. They won that game because Chatfield slowed it down and killed him at the foul line. He must have taken 15 trips to it. He's a high-percentage shooter, so Coach Sharman White has a guy that at any point in the game, he can just point to Eric and say, get to the foul line, slow this down. We need you to dictate the pace. He's that experienced. I think he's a player, obviously, that's going to be the leader. But then you see Chandler Bing, in his absence, has stepped up, and he is a great compliment to them. And if you draw too much attention, he's going to make you pay.
No, 100%. I mean, 4A will be interesting as well. Norfolk Coney, can't forget about them. They'll have something to say. Justin Wise, Kamari Brooks, several really good players there. Obviously, Banks Portier. And then you obviously look at Kell, a defending champion as well. They can really shoot the ball. Zach Graves has been outstanding so far this year. Connor Stalferis, I think, is one of the best shooters we have in the state, how efficient he is. So 4A will be really intriguing.
Along with those guys, also look out for Central Carrollton. You have two guys in Chase North and Kayvon Cochran, both putting up 18 points a game. It'd be really lethal once tournament time
Very true. And then we do have a region tournament, obviously, in the 4A already kind of filled out. Region 1 4A will be at Warner Robins. It'll start on Friday, tomorrow. New Hampstead versus Wayne County. Warner Robins versus Perry. Then Monday you have Ware County versus Warner Robins, or the winner of Perry. And then followed by Benedictine versus New Hampstead / Wayne County, and the championship also on Wednesday night.
Yeah, Benedictine's made some surprising runs. If you don't know about Benedictine's style of play, it's like preparing for the triple option. You aren't going to see any other team do what they do. They do what's called like a hockey substitution. Pretty much between every possession, they sub 5 guys in, 5 guys out. And so it's very difficult to match up with them because they're going to throw you off your game if you don't have a guy like an Eric Chatfield that's so good at controlling the pace and running your offense. If you try to go transition, you aren't going to be able to do it because of all those substitutions and having to make sure you're communicating on what guy to get. Benedictine is a surprising team. It's the reason they've earned that #1 seed.
All right, let's go to 3A. Obviously, at the top would be Cedar Grove. We've seen what they've been able to do all year long, continuing to win. Douglas Atlanta will be another team in there. And I believe Cross Creek is 3A too, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so, Craig, when you look at that, what do you think of just, the 3A? Is it Cedar Grove's title to lose, or do you think Cross Creek has a chance?
Well, I mean, all those Augusta programs, they've really turned that entire area into some of the premier basketball in the entire state. So to me, it's Cedar Grove versus some of these Augusta powerhouses. Obviously, Westside Augusta's in there. You have Pickens that's playing extremely well. I feel like this year they've challenged themselves playing in more premier events and tournaments. They're sitting at 23-0 right now. And then Cherokee Bluff, another outstanding team out of that area, 20-3. I think they will be a challenge also. But you can't count out Westside Augusta, just what they've been able to do the last few seasons in the playoffs. We've seen them where it doesn't matter if they're 15-10. Once they get to the playoffs, they have their eyes set on that championship.
100%. What about for you?
What about Cross Creek at 22-1? They're on a 17-game win streak right now. I just think they can possibly. They're playing good basketball right now, and still undefeated within the region as well.
Yeah.
No, for sure. It's Augusta powerhouse. They've earned that number 2 spot. Cedar Grove, tons of athletes, but yeah, Cross Creek basketball powerhouse for sure.
Final questions as we wrap up this segment. 2A, really quick, Craig. Anybody can knock off Carver Columbus. Kip Atlanta, South Atlanta. What do you think?
I think Columbia is probably the best bet at this point. You look at some of the recent wins. When you see them winning these top 10 matchups, 49-48 shows they got great defense and the ability to close out in a tight game with their go-tos.
There you have it, guys. That is our basketball preview. Again, we'll have more as we get into the region tournament. We'll probably have segments just build out for it. But don't go anywhere. We're going to do a preseason girls soccer preview right here on the Peachtree Sports Network. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Thank you for tuning into our final segment of the show. We're going to preview some girls soccer. Obviously, Greg, we've had on several guests throughout the years. Remember, obviously, having a West Forsyth head coach, and they've been dominating 6A the last 2 years, looking to go for a two-peat. Denmark obviously won the state championship in 2023. But what did you enjoy most about their run? I obviously talked to him. I felt like their defense was the cast. Obviously, great scoring attack as well, but with Marley Raymond, who's going to Penn State, and so many other great players, defense was very important for them last year.
Yes, that's was the strength of their team. That was their identity. And great defense turns into opportunities offensively. But if you look at them, rarely were teams ever scoring a goal, let alone two. And so they had so much confidence defensively that they were able to utilize the fact that they can control the entire game. And then it's such a competitive classification, but they've been able, similar to what we've seen with some of the great lacrosse programs, using defense, ball control, to be able to just consistently find that identity that works for them.
100%. And then, Craig, with 5A, obviously it's going to be different this year. No Marist, but you have a lot of great teams that's going to emerge this year, right? You got Roswell, Pope, Lassiter, McIntosh. Who do you think has the early edge?
I really like McIntosh. I think a team that could be a wild card we've seen with Chambly. They've had some issues with the program where I think that one year they had to vacate the championship. Last year they were really competitive until I think McIntosh actually knocked them out of the playoffs. But Chambly's a team, you can't really sleep on them either. But you put Chambly in the mix, you add McIntosh in the kind of Peachtree area, and then all the powerhouses like Roswell and this stronger Class 5A. I think this one is pretty wide open. You don't have that returning powerhouse like West Forsyth, but you got teams like Chambly in the mix that can obviously make noise.
And then obviously 4A will be really intriguing this year. A couple more powerhouses. Marist obviously moves to 4A with North Oconee, who, as you've been saying for the longest, Craig, for the past few years, a powerhouse, not just in girls soccer, football, basketball, baseball, tennis. I mean, almost everything, along with obviously another great program at Westminster. So how does 4A shape up for you?
Yeah, well, 4A, it's pretty much always been my favorite classification. It's right in the middle, and all the new teams in 4A that are going to make a difference are the Metro Atlanta ones, these private schools. That's the big difference. Adding Marist to that mix is just, I mean, we might see the same matchup we saw in the football state championships of Marist and North Oconee. I mean, those two programs in the same classification, they're going to be meeting quite a bit. But North Oconee, this could be the breakout year.
100%. And then obviously in 3A, Oconee County's looking to win their third consecutive state championship. So it'll be interesting to see what team can maybe knock them off, Craig. But who would maybe you say are some early contenders for that?
I mean, every year that rivalry between Oconee County and Jefferson is huge. The one thing that will benefit them, though, in Class 3A this year is not having to go up against the private schools. They'll be in their own separate classification. That certainly is a benefit in the sport of soccer, which more so than any other sport on the girls' side, Metro Atlanta has dominated. I think only 2 teams in the history of the sport from South Georgia have ever even made it to the state finals. So it is so dominated by Metro Atlanta, but them losing the private schools, that should open up an opportunity for them to repeat.
100%. And then obviously you look at 2A. 2A is wide open, right? Like you said, Craig. More public schools in that fray, no more private. A lot of private obviously does the 3A, the 2A, and things like that. But 2A, wide open.
Yeah, we will see who's doing the girls' soccer rankings. That could be
That is going to be Hayden. Hayden. That comes out tomorrow.
So, yeah, we'll check that tomorrow. I'm not sure. I think that was the one that he was scratching his head on, trying to figure out who the top teams were.
100%. Obviously, Class A, Division I and Division II, same kind of thing, still figuring out who will be those top teams. But ones that we do know, Craig, is the private. Private will be really intriguing this year when we look at it for the girls' soccer. GAC, love it. Fellowship Christian, Padea, who won it all, and then Aquinas is another really, really good team out there in that private classification. I feel like that's kind of what we've seen this year in football. I mean, just wide open.
Yeah, and that is the most intriguing stat I think that's come across this desk on the show so far. Class A 3A private has 5 defending champions in it for girls soccer this year. That's more than we've talked about classifications getting bolstered. I think basketball was similar situation with like Class 5A when they reclassed that one year. You had like River Ridge, the Marist girls. That one got stronger a few years ago. I've never seen 5 defending champs in the same bracket. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane to think about, and I think it's going to make for a great playoff run when we look at it. Obviously, it'll be a little bit different as far as the regular season goes, but then when we look at the the tournament, and when those teams go and face off on each other, I think you'll get some great games early on, first, second round, and especially in the later rounds of the quarterfinals and semifinals and finals.
Yeah, so that's 5 defending state champs. I mean, how many returning state finalists and semifinalists and quarterfinalists? I mean, that is a absolutely loaded bracket. Once again, those returning defending champs, that's GAC, Lovett, Fellowship Christian, Paideia, and Aquinas.
Yeah, will be a lot of fun. That's going to obviously conclude our soccer segment. Can't wait, and we'll have our rankings, so make sure you guys go. I don't know if we have our QR code. Make sure you guys go to scoreatl.com and get all the latest. We have a newsletter and everything like that. Here it is right here. Remember, sign up to weekly high school sports reports newsletter. Lands in your inbox every Saturday morning with breaking news, recruiting updates, classification blogs, and more. So you know what to do. Use that QR code and scan there. We're going to have our rankings out tomorrow. Craig, I'm sure you have a couple blogs. I know Max has some things coming out for blogs as well, and so much more. But guys, we're going to conclude our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow for a very fun Super Bowl preview show talking about the Chiefs and Eagles. So that'll be a lot of fun. Some predictions, some over and unders, and so much more. So you know what to do tomorrow. From 12 to 1, come right back here on the Peachtree Sports Network. We'll see you then.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off. Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Beginning the morning you opened your eyes, we spent every waking moment preparing you for the day you'd leave our nest. Whether it's driving to practice or helping with homework, it's all prepared you for, what am I going to be when I grow up? Will you be ready?
After much thought, I made my decision to take my talents to the IBEW Local 613.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers is not simply a job, it's a career. Visit IBEW613.org to begin a new future today.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Are you interested in becoming a deputy or a jailer? The Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office is hiring and looking for individuals passionate about protecting and serving their community. If you are 18 years or older, join our team by visiting gogcso.com for more information. Gwinnett County, together we can make a difference.